In 1999, Fox ordered a TV pilot from Rob Schrab and Dan Harmon. Yes, that Dan Harmon. It was for a comedy science fiction show titled Heat Vision and Jack, directed by Ben Stiller. Yes, that Ben Stiller. And starring Jack Black. Yes, that, okay, I'm done with the bit. But it was starring Jack Black and Owen Wilson. Yes, that Owen Wilson. The pilot was not picked up for a full series, but the pilot episode has gone on to become a cult classic over the years. So let's take a look at this pilot that didn't land. This pilot never aired on television. However, it became a cult classic due to tapes being traded around. Essentially, like someone got a tape of the pilot and so they gave it to someone else who made a copy, who made a copy, who made a copy. Before you know it, someone's put it on YouTube and now you can watch it for free. And since this never aired on television, this pilot doesn't start with a title sequence. It doesn't start with a cold open. It starts with a message from the director, Ben Stiller. I say message like that because it's a big joke. So Ben Stiller is sitting there with his Emmy and he's, making fun about how his TV show got canceled, but at least he has an Emmy. And you know who doesn't have an Emmy? George Lucas. And this message is directed towards the TV execs who would be ultimately deciding whether or not this pilot would get picked up for a full show. So look at it as like on Shark Tank, when they open their pitch with something real goofy to try to get the attention of the sharks. You guys know what I'm talking about. You watch Shark Tank. We all watch Shark Tank when we're on vacation. Anyway, back to the pilot. After that fun message from everyone's favorite museum night watchman, we get into the wacky world of Heat Vision and Jack. Heat Vision and Jack is a parody / loving tribute to shows like The $6 Million Man, Knight Rider, The Incredible Hulk, these classic 70s and 80s network TV shows. The show follows Jack, a former astronaut who during an accident absorbed a ton of solar energy and due to it has become hyper intelligent. The only problem? His super intelligence goes away if the sun isn't shining on him. So as you can imagine, nighttime is a big problem. But when he gets that tasty dose of vitamin C, oh, he knows everything.
I know everything! Yeah.
And no hero is complete with a great sidekick. And this show takes a cue from the show Knight Rider, where a talking car is the sidekick. And in this version, Heat Vision is a talking motorcycle. Heat Vision used to be Jack's roommate, Doug. But after an incident where he got hit with like a laser beam, he had to become a motorcycle. Heat Vision, the motorcycle, is voiced by Owen Wilson. So I guess this is technically the first time that Owen Wilson voices a red hot rod. The main villain of the pilot, and it's kind of alluded to he would be the main villain of the entire show, is actor Ron Silver. Notice how I said the actor Ron Silver. I don't mean the actor is playing the villain. No, I mean he is the villain. Basically, yeah, he's the actor Ron Silver, but he also works for NASA as a hitman, and he's tracking Heat Vision and Jack down. It's a good bit. Like, throughout the show, people are like, hey, aren't you in Time Cop? And he's like, yeah, but I'm here to fuck up Jack Black. The plot of the pilot is about the evil Paragon, who's this alien thing that possesses TVs and other technology to get to people. And he wants to like absorb people with his glowing green eyes. But Paragon didn't count on the smartest man in the universe to show up right after he kind of absorbed this diner cook. And since Jack knows everything, he was like, something fishy's going on. So Heat Vision and Jack are at this diner. They're like, whoa, something happened here. And then the sheriff shows up. And spoiler alert, she's a pretty lady. The sheriff is Jack's love interest for this episode. And it's kind of assumed that every episode after this, he would find like a new love interest in each town he goes to. In the pilot, we see Heat Vision, Jack, and the sheriff all working together to try to hunt down Paragon and save the town, and probably the universe. And so, they're dealing with Paragon, but then, Ron Silver shows up, so they got to deal with him too. And it all ends at a strip club, where we get the big finale battle between Heat Vision and Jack and Paragon and Ron Silver, and a cameo from the pilot's director, Ben Stiller. He's playing a DJ at the strip club who's dressed like a pirate. This fight scene is really wacky, it's really funny, it's really goofy, and it's probably the reason the show didn't get picked up for series. Like, I loved it, but I could definitely see some stuffy dude in a suit being like, this sucks. So they have this big fight scene, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the pilot yet, they suck up Paragon back into a radio. And now, with his job complete and the sun setting over the horizon, Jack rides off into the sunset. And, you know, since the sun is setting, his super intelligence is also setting. He rides off on heat vision, and who's behind him? Ron Silver. These two are destined to dance this dance forever. Or at least they would have if this pilot would have gotten picked up for a full series. Hey guys, I just wanted to take a second to say thank you to our sponsor for this video, Red Herring Embroidery Co. Red Herring Embroidery is a custom apparel company for all of your embroidered needs. If you're a fan of my channel and you've seen my Twin Peaks videos, then you've probably seen my Andy the Crying Cop merch. That merch is done completely through Red Herring Embroidery. In fact, you can still get those sweatshirts at redherringembroidery.com. So whether you're a small business or a YouTuber looking for custom merch, I cannot recommend Red Herring Embroidery enough. They offer custom embroidery for hats, shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, tote bags, shoes, and more. So special thanks to Red Herring Embroidery Co. Back to the video. Why didn't the network pick up this show? It's obvious in recent years, with it being a cult classic, that it's popular, it's fun, people like it, but why didn't they like it back then? I mean, you've got Ben Stiller, who at the time was a big movie star and director attached to this TV show. That's a big deal in 1999. You have some serious up-and-comers in Jack Black and Owen Wilson. And you have an established name with Ron Silver. You have a fun premise that lends itself to weeks and weeks of different story ideas. It's very sci-fi in nature, kind of like Doctor Who. And it has a great tone. It's funny, it's a parody, it's tongue-in-cheek. It's like the Mel Brooks satire films. But I guess no one really saw it. Maybe the irony and the parody is something that works a lot more now rather than in 1999. Before Fox even picked it up for a pilot, ABC passed on it completely. They said that it didn't mesh with their current TV lineup. Then they pitched the show to NBC. And apparently the young executives at NBC were fighting for it, but the big guys on top said they didn't understand it. Finally, Fox took a chance, gave them the pilot episode, and then didn't pick it up for the rest of the series. In recent years, Dan Harmon, I'm done, for real. This time, I'm done. He has spoken about the pilot and claimed that the reason that Fox didn't continue with the show was how expensive it was to make it. Everyone working on that show, from Ben Stiller, the director, to everyone down the list, was making a lot of money. And apparently, in order to get that cheesy 70s look, it was expensive. An executive at Fox has gone on the record and claimed why it didn't get picked up. He said it was a great parody, but it wasn't something that would work every single week. Which I think it's more likely it's about the money. It's not uncommon for a pilot to not get picked up to series. In fact, it's extremely rare when a pilot does get picked up for series. I mean, that's what this whole show's about. And the popularity of the pilot has led to there being rumors of a reboot or a remake, a more modern version. In 2007, co-writer Rob Schrab claimed that there was a feature screenplay currently in development. A feature film which, as of 2024, has not come to fruition. In 2014, during a Reddit AMA, Dan Harmon claimed that Heat Vision and Jack was being developed as an animated series, which would make sense due to Dan Harmon's success in the animated world. You know, Rick and Morty. You know who I'm talking about, that Dan Harmon. The most recent conversation about Heat Vision and Jack came in 2019 on Conan O'Brien's podcast, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Jack Black was guesting on the podcast, and they bring up Heat Vision and Jack. They have a small conversation about Conan's failed pilot that didn't get picked up called Look Well, which that's what the next episode of this series is going to be about. But after a small conversation about that, they bring up Jack's pilot. Jack Black talks about the pilot and talks about how much he loved it. He thought it was great. He thought it deserved to be a full series. And while he didn't mention any plans for a modern version or a reboot or an animated series, his attitude about it seems that he would be up for it if it ever came to fruition. As of this recording, you can watch the pilot for Heat Vision and Jack for free on YouTube. I have a link down in the description below. So yeah, let me know if you like it. Let me know what you think. Do you think it deserves to be picked up for a full series? Yeah, I do. Yep, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks.